everyone has associated the Bhagavad Gita as the text which teaches you what your dharma is. Dharma meaning what is the ethical conduct that we should have in our life. And this problem is universal and eternal because in life we are continuously and constantly encountering ethical conflicts. Maybe they are not as dramatic as Arjun's conflict, where he has to decide whether he has to have a big battle with his gurus and with his elders and with his brothers and relatives. But that doesn't mean that our conflicts are any less painful and any less troubling. So, the study of the Bhagavad Gita helps us to make intelligent decisions based on dharma, on what we need to do when we are faced with our conflicts in life. And we will talk a little bit later because the verse will come for that. What are the kind of conflicts that we as human beings encounter regularly in our lives? And I'm not saying only some people, I'm saying in this room, each and every one of us is facing at least one or two of these conflicts. Okay, it's not some random one or two people only. I'm saying each of us, every single one, even I, have to face ethical conflicts and we have to resolve them if we want to live in this life in a sukhi way, if we want to live in relative peace, and if we want to ensure that our next life we take birth in a higher level of consciousness, and best of all, if we don't have to take birth again at all. Okay. So, as you all know, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun Vishad Yog, Arjun is listing all the different reasons why he doesn't want to fight in this battle. He's in the battle. The battle is about to begin. And yet, at that last moment, he has a change of heart. He has a conflict going on in his mind. And he goes and tells Bhagwan Krishna, who at that time he has not yet recognized as his guru. At that moment, Bhagwan Krishna is just his sakha, his friend, his companion, his relative, not yet his guru. So he gives gyan to Bhagwan Krishna about what are the repercussions of him fighting this war. Bhagwan Krishna in whole of chapter 1 does not react at all to the great gyan that Arjun is giving. He keeps quiet. And that is one thing you should do, learn to do from him. When someone is giving lot of gyan, you should just keep quiet. Okay? Let them take all that gyan out, get it out of their system. At the end, Bhagwan Krishna says, all this ranting and raving that you did only shows me that you are a weak heart. Out of weakness of heart. What is the word? Klebyam. Hridaya Dorbalyam. And klebyam, unmanliness. Like a effeminate creature, I will not say, like an impotent creature, you are ranting and raving and it is all rubbish. So finally, by the time we come to the 7th verse of chapter 2, which is a very, very important verse because it's showing suddenly one change of attitude in Arjun. He now recognizes, after giving a lot of gyan, being like one big pandit, he's giving gyan, but suddenly in verse number 7, he recognizes that he's confused. He doesn't know what to do. And he surrenders at the feet of Bhagwan Krishna and he says, you tell me what I should do in this confused state of mind. I don't know. So all this I know, which is a lot in many of us, because we think we know, and that will prevent you from actually knowing what you should do. So this is an important verse, and it's also very important verse in your sadhana, okay, as you progress in your sadhana. So finally Arjun gives up all his arguments, surrenders, and begs Bhagwan Krishna to tell him what to do because he doesn't know better. Arjun's problem was about dharma, right? How can I do this? This is against my dharma. So tell me, because you have already studied those verses, does Bhagwan Krishna start by telling him what is his dharma? Then what does he tell him? What is the first advice that Bhagwan Krishna is giving Arjun? You know it. You have studied it. Huh? You are soul. He is not telling Arjun that this is your dharma, this what you are talking is not dharma, he is giving him that eternal knowledge. You are not a human being, you are that eternal self. He is giving him the gyan, Brahma gyan, that you are that eternal soul. You are not this temporary creature who is fighting with another temporary creature. You are that eternal being. So why do you think Bhagwan Krishna starts with that knowledge?
That's the only.
Because that is your main goal in life, to understand you are Atma. And dharma is now being used as the second level of argument, telling you that dharma should aid you in recognizing Aham Brahmasmi. So dharma is not the main thing. The main thing is to understand Aham Brahmasmi. Main thing is to understand you are not just a human being. You are that eternal self, and use dharma to reach that understanding. So this is something really significant. It seems like, so silly. Arjun is talking about killing his relatives and the women folk in the country going astray, and there'll be nobody to do Pitrudan if everybody dies, and society will collapse. His argument is at that level. And it seems so strange if somebody is having this problem and Bhagwan Krishna is talking, you are Atma. There seems to be some disconnect in the problem and the solution being given. But this is an indication to us, pay attention first. Your highest goal, your Swadharma, your highest dharma is to recognize who you are and your relationship with the Supreme Being. What is that relationship between my personal Atma and that Paramatma? And to recognize that this Atma and that Paramatma is one and the same. And all other dharmas, and in this journey rather, of recognizing that this Atma and that Paramatma is one and the same, many other dharma sankats will come on the way. So dharma is there for you to complete all these sankats, to resolve all these problems and reach that supreme understanding, Aham Brahmasmi. So already he has told you everything about who you are. Then he comes to dharma. What is dharma? And he concludes by saying, it is your personal duty to fight this war. It is your personal duty. And if you don't fight this war, Arjuna had said, if I fight this war, I will be doing adharma. Bhagwan Krishna says, if you don't fight this war, you will be doing adharma. Arjun said, it is not my dharma to fight this war. Bhagwan Krishna is telling him, it is your dharma to fight this war. And that is where we stopped, I think, at verse number 33. If you don't fight this war, actually that is the time you are doing sin. Because as a Kshatriya, your dharma is to protect society, to protect the dharmic people, to fight against adharma. So therefore, if you don't do that job, you are going to incur sin, incur karma. And we have to start now with verse 34.
Yes.
Let's chant it. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtir maranadadirichyate. Bijal.
Nay, people will also pour undying infamy on you, and infamy brought on a man enjoying popular esteem is worse than death.
So if you refuse to fight this war, ek to your reputation will go down, ek to you will be incurring sin, and now what will people say? Because that's such an important concept we have. When we have to make a decision, we make the decision on what will people say, as if that is really important. So he says, he also gives that argument. People will pour undying infamy on you. They will say all kinds of things about you. And since you're such a valiant person with such a great reputation, for such a person to have something bad spoken about you, it will be worse than death. Let's go to the meanings. Cha, always now you should know, means and. Api, also. And also means already I have given you some arguments. Now next argument. And also, bhutani, people. Kathayishyanti, will speak. Katha, you know, to speak. So kashayita, will speak. Te, of your. Akirtim, infamy. Kirti means fame. Akirtim, infamy. People will speak that what kind of warrior is he? He ran away from the field. Avyayam, forever. Means not only at that time when you run away, forever means even now, after so many centuries, you will go down in history as that warrior who ran away from the battlefield. Forever. Cha, and Sambhavitasya. Sambhavitasya, for a reputable person, for a person who has good prestige, good fame, good standing in society, for such a person, akirtim, infamy, atirichyate. Atirichyate is greater. Maranat, than death. For such a respectable person, infamy is worse, is greater than death. So if somebody is an unknown person, nobody knows him, he's living in one little hole somewhere, he does some adharma, he does some pap, nobody knows, nobody cares. Only karma will come, of course. But someone who's got a big standing, somebody who's respectable, somebody who's got a status in society, somebody that everybody knows, if he does, all the media will be after him, right? Every paper will have the headline, every TV channel. And what's that guy's name who argues a lot? Arnav Goswami. He will have 100 debates about him. till we all get sick and tired of hearing anything. So Bhagwan Krishna is using that argument now on Arjun. So Kshatriya Varna, because Arjun belongs to Kshatriya Varna. For them, more than in any other Varna, the sense of honor and valor is considered the highest, right? Social prestige for a Kshatriya, because his dharma is to protect, his dharma is to fight, and people look up to him, people expect him to fight and protect them. For such a person to be a deserter, because now he's in the battlefield, let's suppose he decided before the battle had started that I am not going to fight. ठीक है, at least some excuse. He could have said, I have stomach ache and all. But a deserter in the middle of the battle, man, the conches have been what? Blown. And the weapons have started making noise. And that time everybody is like ready to throw their spears and whatever, javelins, whatever they have. He is running away, like tail between the legs. He is just going to run away. And for that, he has to face shame. He has to face shame from his superiors. He has to face shame from his country, his praja, because he is from a royal family after all. And most of all, he will have to face his conscience. Most of all, he will have to face his conscience. For him, at that stage, life will be a living hell. And that is what Bhagwan Krishna says, death will free him from that shame. Now, people love to create stories, right? And we know how the whole media is thriving on that only. Creating stories out of nothing. And they love to create stories. They'll never create good stories, na? Somebody did something great, somebody saved something, somebody did some seva. That is not newsworthy for them. But you let them just do some innocuous little garbad, and then it becomes, people love creating stories. And the more negative it is, the greater the story, the greater the TRP, CRP, whatever it is. They just need to get one whiff of some negative action. Okay, then they will weave, they will spin, and they will make one 9-yard sari from it. So, afterwards, after this story has been said a few numbers of times, it will spread like forest fire. Then what? Everyone will believe it to be the truth. And it becomes history. And most of our history in India has actually been written like that. Okay, we don't know whether the history we are learning in schools today is the real history or a fabricated history. So here is a lesson for us, and we have studied it here many times. Before you speak, use the triple filter test. This has to be controlled. Triple filter test. What does it consist of? Before you speak, you should.
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Did Arjun actually desert because he did not want to fight? Nobody will remember that Arjun didn't want to fight because he didn't want to kill his guru or his relatives. Nobody will say that. They will say, "Arey, dekho kaisa tha? He has run away, darpok." What? Say loudly, I can't say. Okay, I could not say that. People will say that. So it should be true. Second, it should be pleasant. It should be pleasant. Even if the truth is unpleasant, you should be able to say it in a pleasant way. There are two ways you can say everything, in a pleasant way and in an unpleasant way. Right? And 3, is it useful to the person who is hearing it? Is it useful? So before you speak, apply this triple filter test. And come out of the habit of gossiping. This gossiping is the most harmful habit. It's neither true, you have not verified. Acha, that happened? How do you know? Oh, someone told me. Who someone? That someone, somebody else told that somebody. Then somebody else told. If you go back to the source, pata nahi. You may never reach the source because there never was a source. It was just somebody's wild imagination. Okay? So Bhagwan Krishna is now warning Arjun that if he runs away now, he will go down in the annals of history as a cowardly warrior. And there is nothing that anyone will be able to do to stop this gossip, because it will also be gossip. Now, this giving up of the war is symbolic, as everything in Bhagavad Gita is. The symbolism behind this conversation between Arjun and Bhagwan Krishna is for us sadhaks. We also get onto the spiritual bandwagon, but we also give up very easily. And our giving up is giving up of what? Giving up of what? You know. Sadhanas. You start a sadhana with lot of, gung ho, very enthusiastically. Then somewhere along the way, you give up. So this also should not be done. What else we give up?
Resolve. The resolve.
Our resolve, determination. What else we give up? Purusharth. What Purusharth? To do our dharma. So we give up on dharma. We give up on dharma. We give up on our duties. We give up on our responsibilities. And all this for a sadhak is khatarnak. Okay? Because it is only by fulfilling your duty at every step that you can move to the next step. You can't go from KG class to standard 12. Can you? You have to go step by step, and you cannot just give it up. So the spiritual meaning is that a sadhak who will give up his sadhana, he will immediately, or may not be immediately, but definitely in due course, he will once again become a slave to his sense objects. You cannot give up sadhana, because vasanas are never destroyed. Vasanas always remain latent. They may be rendered unpoisonous. They may be rendered helpless against your willpower. They may be rendered helpless against your understanding. They may be rendered helpless against your knowledge, but they are never ever destroyed. Ever.
Vasanas.
Vasanas. Never destroyed. Therefore, sadhana can never be given up. And if you'll give up and again become a slave of your sense organs or your sense objects which are attracting you, you will not be spared the infamy which will your own conscience will give you. We don't need 100 people around us to tell us that we have been bad. We will not need 100 people around us, because we are not that famous for 100 people to know what sadhana we are doing and what slavery to sense objects we are doing in private. But there is your own conscience which will know, and our own conscience will not spare us. And when your conscience starts telling you you have been adharmic, that will be living like hell. And you will prefer to die than to experience your conscience telling you time and time again, you have done adharma.